Hello, my friends, and welcome back to English Unleashed.
I'm Tom. 感謝for hi. I'm Tom. Today, I'm going to talk about something very practical.
Something that many English learners struggle with: how to sound polite without sounding weak. This is a big problem for many learners. Some sound too direct, even rude. Others sound very polite, but they also sound unsure, weak, and this creates fear. You may think if I'm too polite, people will not respect me, or if I speak strongly, people will think I am rude.
So what do? Well, many learners choose silence. They say nothing. They avoid speaking. But silence is not the answer. In this episode, I will show you how to be polite and confident at the same time.
You do not choose one, or the other. You can have both.
Many learners think politeness means being soft. They think it means apologizing all the time, saying sorry again and again. For example, you may say, sorry, can I maybe ask you something if that's okay?
Well, this sounds polite, but it also sounds unsure. You sound like you are afraid, like you do not believe you have the right to speak.
In English-speaking cultures, this can be a problem because politeness in English is not about being small. It is not about lowering yourself. Politeness in English is about respect. Respect for the other person and respect for yourself. This is very important.
Now, let me tell you something honest. Native English speakers do not respect people who are rude.
I think that is true for any other culture, but they also do not respect people who have no boundaries.
A boundary is a clear line. It means what you accept and what you do not accept.
You can be polite and still have boundaries. You can say please and still sound strong. You can say thank you and still sound confident. The problem is not politeness. The problem is how you express it. Let's look at a very simple example. Imagine you are at work. Someone interrupts you again and again. You want to stop this? You have two choices. The first choice is stop interrupting me. This is strong, but it sounds aggressive. It is not polite. And the second option is what you will learn in this episode. For example, could you please let me finish my point?
This sentence is polite, but it is also clear. You are not apologizing for existing. You are not attacking the other person.
You are simply stating what you need. This is polite confidence. Now, many learners think confidence comes from grammar or vocabulary, but confidence comes from clarity. When your message is clear, you sound confident. Even if your English is not perfect, you do not need big words. You do not need advanced grammar. You need calm structure. Okay?
Let me slow down and explain something important. In English, politeness often comes from softening the verb, not the message.
Your message can be strong, but the verb can be gentle. For example, I want this report now. This is strong message and hard verb. And compare it with, could you please send me the report today? The message is almost the same, but the feeling is different.
You are still asking for action. You are not weak. You are simply respectful. Now, many learners overuse the word sorry.
They say sorry to ask, sorry to bother you, sorry. This creates a problem because sorry means you did something wrong. If you say sorry all the time, you sound like you are always wrong. In later parts, I will teach you when to stop apologizing and what to say instead. Okay, let me tell you another simple truth. Confidence is not about volume. It is not about speaking loudly. It is not about sounding aggressive. Confidence is about being calm. A calm voice sounds strong. A rushed voice sounds nervous. So when you speak politely, slow down, pause, breathe. This alone will change how people hear you. All right, in this part of the episode, we will focus on one very practical skill: how to make polite requests that sound confident. This is something you do every day. You make requests at work, you make requests with friends, you make requests in emails, you make requests in shops, and many English learners feel uncomfortable doing this. They think if I ask directly, I sound rude. If I ask politely, I sound unsure. So they overthink, they add too many words, they apologize too much, and the message becomes unclear. So let's fix that together.
First, let me say something very clearly. Making a request is not a problem. It is normal. It is human. You are not asking for a favor every time.
Sometimes you are simply communicating needs, expressing needs, saying other people what you need. All right, let's start with a very basic sentence.
Send me the file. This sentence is clear, but it sounds too direct in many situations. Now look at this one. Can you send me the file? This is already better. Can you is one of the most common polite request forms in English. It is simple, it is natural and safe, but we can improve it slightly.
Can you send me the file, please? Now, this sentence sounds polite, but still confident. You did not say sorry. You did not explain too much. This is polite clarity.
Now let's go one step higher. Instead of can you, we can use could you. Could you send me the file, please? Could sounds a little softer than can. It sounds more professional, but it is not weak. Native speakers use this all the time, especially at work.
Many learners think polite English means long English. That is not true. Often short, polite sentences sound stronger than long apologies.
Sorry to bother you, but I was wondering if you maybe had time to possibly send me the file today. Well, this is very long and it sounds nervous.
Now listen to this. Could you send me the file today, please? Clear, calm, and confident. Less words, more power.
Now let's talk about tone. Tone means how your voice sounds. You can say a polite sentence, but still sound weak if your tone is unsure. If you speak too fast or if your voice goes up too much at the end, you sound uncertain. Try to keep your voice steady. For example, could you help me with this? Now let's look at a very common mistake. Many learners use the word please in the wrong position. They say, please, can you help me? This is not wrong, but it sounds a bit emotional. A better option is, can you help me please? Or could you help me with this, please? This sounds more natural in modern English. Now let's move to a slightly higher level. Instead of can you or could you, we can use would you mind? Would you mind? For example, would you mind helping me with this? This is very polite, but it is still confident, and here is an important note after. After would you mind, we use ing form. Would you mind helping me? Would you mind looking at this? Would you mind supporting her? Would you mind opening the window? This structure sounds professional and calm. Okay, now let me show you something important. You can sound confident by adding time or direction to your request. For example, could you send me the file? This is good. Now, could you send me the file by this afternoon? This sounds more confident.
You are clear about what do you want. You are not demanding. You are organized. Okay, now let's practice with another example. Imagine you are in a meeting.
You need someone to repeat something. You can say, sorry, what? This sounds rude. You can say, sorry, I didn't understand, sorry. A better option is, sorry, could you repeat that, please? Now, even a better option is, could you repeat that, please? No apology needed. You did nothing wrong. You simply need information. All right, now we are going to talk about something even harder for many learners. How to say no politely without feeling guilty. This is one of the most important communication skills in English, and it is one of the most emotional. Many people are afraid to say no. Not only in English, in any language, but in English, this fear becomes stronger. Why? Because learners think, if I say no, I will sound rude. If I say no, people will not like me. If I say no, I will lose opportunities. So they say yes, even when they do not want to. Even when they are tired, even when they are busy and slowly they feel stressed, they feel angry. But saying no does not make you a bad person.
And saying no politely does not make you rude. Let's start with a very simple example. Someone asks you, can you help me with this? You do not have time.
Many learners panic here. They say, I'm sorry, I can't, sorry. Well, this sounds emotional and it sounds like you did something wrong, but you did not.
You simply cannot help. So let's change the structure. Listen carefully. I'm afraid I can't help with this. This sentence is polite, it is calm, and it is clear. The phrase I'm afraid does not mean fear. It is a polite expression.
You are not apologizing, you are informing in a polite way. Okay, now let's talk about saying no to invitations. Someone says, do you want to come to dinner tonight?
You do not want to go. You can say, no, this is okay with close friends. But in many situations, we soften it. Try this. Oh, thanks for the invitation, but I'll have to pass tonight. I'll have to pass means I say no politely, very natural, very common, or thank you, but I already have plans. Again, this is polite and confident. Here's a very useful structure you can remember. Thank you plus no plus optional alternative. For example, thank you for asking, but I won't be able to help today. Or, I appreciate the offer, but I'll have to decline. Decline means to say no politely. It is more formal. All right, now we arrive at one of the hardest skills in English communication. How to disagree politely.
For many learners, disagreement feels dangerous. You think if I disagree, people will get angry. If I disagree, I will sound...
Let me say this clearly. There are two extremes. On one side, we have aggressive disagreement, which is impolite. For example, that's wrong. I don't agree at all. You are mistaken.
These sentences may be honest, but they feel hard on the other side. On the other side, we have passive agreement. For example, yeah, maybe, I guess so. You are probably right, but...
These sentences hide your real opinion. They make you invisible. Invisible means difficult to be seen. What we want is the middle, polite, confident disagreement. The first secret is this. In English, we usually soften disagreement by starting with agreement. This does not mean fake agreement. It means showing respect before sharing a different view.
For example, I see your point, but I think there is another way to look at it. This sentence is very powerful.
I see your point shows respect, but the word but introduces your opinion. You are not attacking, you are joining the conversation. Now let's look at another example.
Someone says, this is the best solution. You disagree. You can say, I understand why you think that. However, I see it a bit differently now.
The word however is a polite alternative to but. It sounds more formal and calm. Now let's look at disagreement in meetings.
People speak fast and opinions are strong. You can use thinking phrases to slow the moment. For example, that's an interesting point, but let me think about that for a moment. These phrases buy you time. They also show respect. Then you add your view. For example, that's an important point. I'm just not convinced it will work in the long term.
Long term means over a long period of time. This is a bit advanced, but natural English. Okay, and that brings us to the end of today's episode. Before we finish, I want to hear from you. If you enjoyed this episode, and if topics like this help you feel more confident speaking English, let me know. In the comments, tell me what situations you struggle with most. Work meetings, saying no, disagreement, or everyday conversations. If I see your feedback, I will create more episodes like this focused on real English for real life. Thank you again for listening. This is English Unleashed, and until next time, keep learning, keep practicing, and keep believing in yourself. Bye for now.